Hi and welcome to another episode, and what we've got here is Sinclair polystyrene. Yes, it's a bit on the dirty side. It'd be really nice if it actually cleaned up, but that'll be for a later episode if I bother to try to do that. I have got some ideas for the box because, as you know, as you can see even, there is no box. Now, in the timescales of making this episode, well, basically I had made something else, but that's going to come out next week. I've done this one sort of quickly because I'm going to do this one quickly because yesterday Sir Clive Sinclair passed away at 81 years of age. I don't know, is it fitting? I don't know, but I am going to be doing it because I wanted to do an episode anyway. I'm just bringing it forward an awful lot. So, what's inside? For those who bother to read the titles of YouTube videos before they start, they'll already know. It's a ZX81. Now, this is something that I had when I was a kid, but this is new to me, this particular episode. Well, I can't say I had it as a kid, really. I had access to one when I was a kid. But yes, my wife has bought me this for Christmas, and again, I'm showing things off before Christmas. She's purchased this because she's been keeping an eye out for a particular style of ZX81, and you'll understand in a moment. Because I requested one for last Christmas, but they weren't about at the prices. I thought she could grab hold of one, along with everything else that she got me last year, because she really did spoil me last year. This year Christmas is going to be a little bit tighter, but she wanted to make sure that she's got me the right thing and it works and so forth, because that's all that I'm showing in this episode really. Now, it did not come with a composite cable, which might be giving a bit of a way of the modifications that have already been done to it. We've got the power supply unit. I can't stand the sound of polystyrene. As you can see, it's had a bit of a better life as well, this particular bit of polystyrene. But the power supply unit, however, it's 9 volts and 0.7 of an amp at 50 hertz, because we're based here in the UK. And what was the other thing about it? I believe the polling's the opposite of the modern way. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it is. It hasn't got a little diagram that I would understand on there. So we have the ZX81. We'll put that to the side. Look how tiny it is. Tiny, 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 tiny. I mean, man's hand. I'm 5'11" There we go. You know, it's a small little computer. We'll talk about that more in a moment for those that don't know what a ZX81 is. Manual. I believe this is a later issue because the original ones were more of a ring, not a ring binder, ring up and down the book. I don't know the book stuff. But the book appears to be in somewhat decent condition. To say that it's 1981, 1982, I mean, does it say an issue? 1983. Someone's written in it. Maybe that's when they got it. But yeah, reprinted 1982. There we go. First edition 1980, second edition 81, 82. So it is a later edition. Was bought from Boots branch. Oh, where's that? Broadmead something street. I'm gonna bring it closer to myself for a moment, see if I can read with my old man eyes, because I don't wear glasses, but I'm getting to a point I think I might need them. Is that Bristol? Brimswick? Something? Sadly, it's all... Whoever stamped it in Boots didn't stamp it very well. But yeah. And for those that like to know how many pages, 222 pages of goodness of where they actually bother to tell you how to use a computer and program it. To a certain level anyway. All within the book that came with it. And then we have the audio cables for loading and saving. Something else that didn't come with this particular batch. I just had these kicking around anyway from all the bits and pieces I've bought on you know where over the years. So let's get the manual and the rest of the polystyrene out of the way and bring the ZX81 into play without banging the polystyrene around, because I really can't stand the sound of it. Right, ZX81. Basically 1K of goodness. 1 whole kilobyte of goodness. Yes, the ROM is a bit bigger, funnily enough. I think it's 4K ROM, if I remember. I haven't bothered to look anything up. I'm going to be doing all that when, well, I play around with it properly. I just wanted to show that the fact that I've actually got one now. Eagle-eyed people among you will notice that the Z81 bit has been rubbed off. Don't know how that happens over the years with people doing that, but it has been rubbed off. And as we know from previous episodes, I've got some fancy pens, so hopefully I can colour this back into being red again. Though I do have some ideas of my own of the colouring, and I'll explain that near the end if I remember. But anyway, you can tell it's the original keyboard because the keys are looking a bit on the grey side. They're not bright white because there's a few, how many different versions there are of replacement keyboards you can get. So one of them, keep a lookout though, because one of them has the wrong font, and then the other one has the correct font, but then actually has some extra writing for different. Basically, ZX81s that have been rerouted by people, they've got a few more functions, and they've put those on there. There was a guy, a German guy, calling himself Pokemon, I think it was. He had made an even better version of the keyboard, of remakes that it is, and it hasn't got like the soft ribbon sort of thing. It's got wired ribbon. You know what I mean? The proper wire leading from it. That's supposedly a better replacement still. And he's also made, what was the other thing that he made? Oh, another gadget that supposedly gets rid of jail bars from the ZX81. But from what I can see is that he said he was going to reopen his shop from beginning of 2021, but he doesn't seem to have done. So hell of a shame that if he's not about to do it anymore, or if he's giving up, fine enough, he's giving up, but I hope his health is good. But anyway, what else we've got? We've got an expansion port, which doesn't really give you much chance to expand really. Well, not in the old days anyway. You could get 16K memory, 32K memory, and even 64K memory. And I seem to remember there was 128 kicking around at the time, but that was sort of rare. But the truth is that it was quite difficult to program for doing that, because you had to page blocks of memory in and out, and of course that takes memory to do, and the ZX81's not the fastest of computers, so there was very little that was especially written for such large sizes. But speaking of memory, this actually has memory built in. I'm not going to open up this ZX81 because of the way that the keyboard goes in and everything. It's a bit fiddly, and this isn't supposed to be until Christmas anyway, and I'm not really expecting to do any extra mods to this because of what's already inside. The reason why I wanted one with memory already fitted inside was because, as I already said, the expansion port used to have memory on it, and anyone who knows about ZX81s will have heard of RAM pack wobble. And basically it would fit on at the back, especially the Sinclair designed one, would fit flat sort of at an angle, because you can see it's sort of, it's not exactly a right angle, it's just a little bit not quite 90 degrees, and then there's the wedge to go across the top as well, so it would lean backwards, which meant when you were using this fantastic keyboard with your man-sized hands and wobbling, it would actually move the computer about, which in turn would wobble the RAM pack. And the ZX81's a bit flaky in the realms of RAM pack wobble, and it would crash, and it might do a reset right there and then, or it might not. You wouldn't maybe find out until the very end of your tape loading had ended that you'd found out that no, it wasn't working properly. It would show all the wonderful I'm loading screen, but yeah, wasn't so great. So people used, I don't know, like carpet tape, Velcro, chewing gum, blue tack, white tack, sellotape or sticky tape rolled round and squashed, all in the hopes of stopping the RAM pack wobble. But because it's already been pre-installed, I haven't got that problem. Now, there's plenty of people that have installed chips and a little circuit board that they've made themselves and everything, and put it in and put up to 16K. This has a special board that's ready-made and takes it up to 32K. I'll show a picture there. I'll mess around and stick it there of what it looks like, and that's nicely sitting in there. Now, the one thing I've also realized when I took this out of the box before, I can see a flash of red there. You can just about see, because red means an issue 3 board. There was an issue 1 and an issue 3. There was no issue 2. And issue 3 basically means that the ROM was fixed, because there was a bit of a counting problem in the original one. So I'm glad it's a version 3, so I'll never come across that. I probably never come across it anyway, but at least I won't do now. And then the other thing that's been done, as I've said already, composite cables is composite has been done, because originally it was RF, but you can mess around, remove the RF gubbins inside there and replace it with again your own little circuit, or you can buy pre-made circuits that make it so it's composite. So I've babbled on far too long now, so let's actually turn it on, because that's the one thing I haven't done yet, is turn this on and make sure it works. Okay, it's all plugged in. The picture is a little bit jumpy at times, so don't worry about that. It's because the Elgato HD doesn't like the timings of what's getting sent out. TV's fine. I probably should get that Pro V silver box thing that I have out and plugged in, but I just want to get this recorded. So let's get this up here. If I ever use the ZX81, I will try it with the Pro V. So to load stuff, I have a TZX, what is it, a TZX Drino, which I've upgraded to 1.17. I've already tested trying to load stuff, and basically you've got to turn off the boost, and you've got to baud rate 3600. I've got it set to, and I've got the gremlin turned off as well, whatever the gremlin bit is. But so let's try to load something, but first things first, of course, I need to transition you to be able to see. And this is the welcome prompt when you first turn a ZX81 on. That's all you get. A white K in a black background. And you need to do is press J, so you can press load. Sorry for the time differences. Basically what I've got is it going through the Elgato, and then I'm piping that from my computer across the TV that I'm looking at. So there's a bit of a delay in what I'm doing. Well, you might be seeing it in real time, but for me it's a delay. So we'll press new line, not enter, but new line. So now we lose the signal. So this is the bit where I'll not bore you now, and I start the TZX Drino loading something, because obviously you're looking at an Elgato no signal sign is boring for you. So let me jump back when I've got something loaded. And here we are. Let me just zoom out for a moment so you can see. Sinclair ZX81 Flight Simulator. My wife got me this as well. Comes on cassette, obviously. Dear me. The instructions on how to fly. Now the amazing thing is, this is the first flight simulator I ever played. I must have been, well, in fact, when did it come out? Because I know what year. Yeah, came out in 1982. I wouldn't even been 10 years old yet. The let's get that back in there. So that's my one and only official, oh, a lot of glare, my one and only official ZX81 flight simulation game, which is a bit further back. Oh, am I going to break this time? Oh, in the list of when I bought that. Anyway, so let me get all that back on my CD shelves. Right, let's go back to the actual simulation. There we go. Doing a final approach. Yes. Come on, please work. Final approach. Do you want to include wind effects? No, because I'm scared. And that's what a flight simulator looks like on a ZX81. Oh, this brings back memories. I know that they upgraded it to the Spectrum and Spectrum graphics. I've never actually played that one officially on here. Don't worry about the screen jumping backwards and forwards. That's the HD device. The capture device complaining. Mentioned that already though, haven't I? So here we go. So can we? I might need the instructions. Oh, there we go. I can fly it left and right. So this is you supposedly looking out at the cockpit, left and right. Little dots flashing, so we need to aim towards the dots, bring it round to the front. Am I making it go the wrong? I'm flying the wrong way, aren't I? Silly me. Thinking I want to. Oh dear. I'm a lot better at the way we're taking it all the way around, it seems. There we go. Let's bank a lot more. Obviously there's no sound on a ZX81. There is expansion things you can buy back in the day, and there's people have remade them, but they seem to have even stopped making them now. So who knows? Maybe I'll come across something, but I never played around with sound on a ZX81. Apart from there was some program you could do through the old style TVs. It would put it in fast mode, and which you can't see on this screen, but it would sort of hum in a certain way, but you could still press keys and it would make notes that way. Not very good notes, but it would make some kind of sound. I can't remember if it was some program that was typed in from a magazine or something. It probably was. But as you can see, the graphics are not exactly stunning on a ZX81. There is high-res graphics that can be done in some games. A few back in the day, and I know people have done them more modern ways, and they look a bit more like the Spectrum blocky graphics, but again there's no colour. But again, there's expansions you can get where you can get colour for certain games. I don't have that access in all of this. I'm interested in the fact really of just having this and having it in a box, and sort of like this is the computer that got me going in the realms of the good old computer days. Now, as I said, I want to come back and do another episode at some point. I want to colour this in for the ZX81. I really don't know if I'm going to do anything else with lettering across the top, because obviously that was meant to be black, and this was meant to be red. Well, because this is being upgraded, I had thought about maybe doing colours of, like on the +2, of maybe putting the ZX81 in silver, because where it says Spectrum +2 on the +2 is in silver, as far as I remember. And the Sinclair is in red, yes that's right. They colour them in, didn't I? But at the same time, maybe I should just go stock and have ZX81. Now let me bring me back to full screen. I know there isn't an awful lot of information in here today, but I do want to come back to this and, as I say, do the box and the polystyrene. I want to see if I can clean that up. I don't know if I can. And there is a crack in the polystyrene, but not all the way through. And I'm hoping I can put some kind of glue in there, not super glue because that will dissolve, but I don't know, PVA glue maybe. It'd help fix that. Not an awful lot, but just a little bit down the crack to hold it more together. And as for cleaning it, all I can really think of is some soap suds and a toothbrush, and very carefully go across it. But that'll be where you don't get to see, because I haven't got the space to do that. I'll just, if it looks better than what it did at the start of this video, then you know I've managed to get somewhere with it. I've also ordered a sleeve, a cardboard sleeve to go across. It's a brand new reproduction. Hopefully I'll get that sometime soon. So we'll see that and see how good that is, and see if I can recommend that you get one of those if you've got polys or your boxes all ripped to bits and you'd like to have it look a bit fresher on your shelves. Okay, so I have thought about doing the ZX81 in red, because you know I've got the pens to do it like I did on the +2, but I have wondered if I should do the Sinclair in red and the ZX81 in silver like the ZX81, mainly because it has got a 32K inside and it has got the composite mod done as well. So you know, let me know in the comments down below if you agree and if you don't, or if you think I should paint them some other colour. Because, as I say, it is been an upgraded one, and I'd sort of like the idea of making it stand out, but at the same time I can understand why stock might be a better way of doing the colouring. Now, speaking of the comments, don't forget to go down to the description, because there you'll find links to the Patreon. It'd be great if you join that. And just above there you'll see the subscription and the notification bell and the like button. It'd be great if you clicked all of those. As always, happy gaming.